Emma's birthday celebration was an extravagant event. Family members and friends from both sides gathered, watching as she stood on stage delivering an emotional speech. Her voice wavered with sentiment, and standing beside her, Noah reached out, gently wiping away her tears in a tender gesture. To anyone watching, this didn't seem like an ordinary birthday party. It looked more like a wedding ceremony, with the bride and groom exchanging heartfelt vows. "What's going on?" Mia whispered, quickly connecting the dots. "It's because of your sister, isn't it?" That was right. 3 months ago, Emma had returned from studying abroad. She arrived just in time to witness Noah and me finalizing plans for our engagement. I had picked the venue, set the date, and carefully arranged every last detail. But just a week ago, Emma casually mentioned that her birthday was coming up. She wanted to host a grand celebration as her first big gathering since returning, inviting all her old friends. Then, she suggested something unexpected using my venue. At first, my parents hesitated. After all, that hotel, the decor, and everything else had been set up specifically for my engagement to Noah, but Emma, as always, knew how to get what she wanted. She clung to their arms and pleaded, "It's just a birthday party. It won't change anything. Besides, using Ava's venue will save us so much time and effort, right?" Emma had always been their favorite. And Noah, he just went along with it. Mia looked at me, suspicion in her eyes. "This was supposed to be your engagement. Is Emma's birthday really more important?" I had already cried enough over this. Now, I could manage to keep my emotions in check. Noah knew how much effort I had put into this, how much I had looked forward to it. But just because Emma asked, he and my parents convinced me to give in. I fought back. I argued. But Noah simply said, "We can get engaged anytime. But Emma only gets one birthday a year. She's been away for 5 years. Can't we do this one thing for her?" It wasn't that I couldn't. But why did it have to be on my engagement day? Why did it have to be my venue? 3 days later, when Noah came home and saw how much he had hurt me, he lost it. Meanwhile, Emma's birthday banquet was still in full swing. When I arrived at the venue, guests were laughing, champagne glasses clinking. I recognized some of them high school classmates, old friends. But as I watched Emma and Noah surrounded by people, laughing and celebrating, I realized something. I was just an outsider at my own engagement venue. Emma covered her mouth, giggling. Noah's smile wasn't as exaggerated, but the warmth in his eyes was unmistakable. I took in the scene, pretending I wasn't hurt would have been a lie. "Ava is here," someone suddenly called out. Noah and the others immediately turned toward me. I snapped out of my thoughts and met his gaze. He hadn't expected me to show up. The softness in his expression vanished instantly, replaced by surprise. Instinctively, he pulled his arm away from Emma. "You didn't need to go through the trouble of coming," he muttered. "It's just picking you up. Forget it." He didn't even notice the distance in my tone. I stopped responding. Emma walked over, her confidence unshaken. "You're here," she said smoothly, unlike Noah's momentary awkwardness, gracefully lifting the hem of her dress as she approached. That's when I noticed she was wearing the gown I had picked for my engagement banquet's toast. She saw me looking and smiled. "Do you like my dress, Ava?" In her eyes, I saw that unmistakable glint of provocation and pride. I forced a polite smile, unwilling to let her see any reaction beyond indifference. Emma's expression subtly shifted. "I'm going to see my parents first," I said, pulling my hand away from Noah's grip. "I'll go with you." Inside, my parents were in the living room, flipping through photos from the night. "Oh, these turned out so well." "Yeah, this one's my favorite." My mother pointed to a group photo: Noah, Emma, and my parents. She stared at it for a long moment, a satisfied smile appearing on her face. "Look at Emma and Noah. They look so perfect together." My steps faltered. Noah was walking behind me, and every word landed right in his ears. His expression darkened as he instinctively glanced at me, before quickly raising his voice, breaking the awkward silence. "Ava is here." Startled, my parents turned around. Why are you here?" They must have realized I had heard everything. Their faces turned awkward, unsure of how to react. "Isn't it Emma's birthday today?" "I came to see her," I said, my voice steady. "Yes, but I haven't cut the cake yet." Emma frowned slightly, disappointment laced in her voice. You ordered this cake yourself, won't you stay and cut it with me? Noah's grip on my hand stiffened. Sensing his hesitation, Emma turned to me. You just got here too, why don't you stay and have some cake before you go? No thanks. I'm watching my weight. You guys enjoy. By now, it was painfully clear what Noah really wanted. I made up an excuse about being too tired from rehearsals and left. I thought back to when we were little. My mother had bought 2 beautiful princess dresses. Logically, we should have gotten one each, but Emma wanted both. She clutched them tightly, refusing to let go, wailing at the top of her lungs. No, they're both mine. I want them both. Heart aching for her, my mother scooped her up from the floor. All right, they're both Emma's. Emma was instantly pacified, throwing her arms around Mom's neck. Mommy, I love you the most. That moment defined so much of my childhood. I was always expected to be the one who let go. Because Noah was outstanding, my mother believed he had to be secured for Emma. After high school, when she found out which university Noah applied to, she changed both mine and Emma's applications to match his. She changed mine so I could continue looking after Emma. She changed Emma's because she wanted her to be with Noah. But Emma got rejected. And unwilling to attend any other school, she stayed home. That night, Noah returned home late. I was still awake, reading research papers on my tablet when he opened the door and saw me up. He paused briefly. You're back. I turned off the screen and looked at him. Noah nodded as if wanting to say something. I cut him off. Go take a shower first. Keep it quiet. I'm going to sleep soon. After showering, he climbed into bed. Under the blanket, his warm arm wrapped around my waist. His voice, dampened by lingering steam, carried a soft, almost vulnerable tone. Ava, it was just a birthday party, I reminded him. Noah opened his mouth, then hesitated. He must have sensed my unusual calmness. If I had gotten angry, protested, or even cried, he would have known what to do. But now, I simply accepted everything with indifference. This was what he wanted. Yet somehow, it made him feel defeated, uneasy. I know you're upset, Ava. I promise you, Ava, I'll give you an even grander wedding. Nothing will compare to it. Noah finally spoke, his arms tightening around me. Mia was stunned. She snatched a form from my hands. This is a 3-year program. Does Noah know? I shrugged. He'll find out soon enough. I never intended to hide my plans for further studies from Noah. Now that my acceptance letter had arrived, it was the perfect time to talk to him about it. I drove straight to Noah's company. The receptionist recognized me and let me take the executive elevator without question. As soon as I stepped out, I heard Emma's voice. Wow, the view from here is amazing. She was standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the cityscape. Hearing me approach, Emma turned. Oh, Ava, you're here. For a fleeting moment, both her and Noah's smiles faltered. I was bored today, so Noah brought me to his office for a tour. She explained before I could say anything. Noah walked over and took my hand. You should have told me you were coming. Sorry, I'll text you next time. I never had to before. Noah frowned slightly, as if about to say something, but stopped. Later that day, we had dinner together. Noah, as usual, placed food on my plate. I want some too. Emma suddenly spoke up. You treat Ava so well. I wish I could find a boyfriend as amazing as you. My chopsticks paused midair. Noah didn't seem to catch the underlying meaning and merely chuckled. Just eat your food, he said, placing some food on her plate as well. Suddenly, I lost my appetite. I set my chopsticks down. Noah, are you free this afternoon? I need to talk to you. He looked up. What's it about? Later that evening, as I scrolled through my phone, a notification caught my eye. A new post. Emma had uploaded a photo floor-to-ceiling windows, a hotel suite. The location tag matched a city where Noah had told me he was going for work. And in the reflection of the glass, faint but undeniable, were 2 silhouettes. My mother had even liked the post. She left a comment. Good luck, sweetheart. A surge of anger shot straight through me. Without thinking, I called Noah. The phone rang, and then, Noah? Silence. Then a voice, sticky and insidious, slid through the receiver. Ava. It's me, Emma. A chill ran down my spine. There was a pause before Noah finally spoke. What's wrong? You took Emma on your trip? There was a brief silence. Then, Emma wanted to go somewhere, And since I was already coming here for work, a pathetic excuse. My temples throbbed. I thought I had enough patience, but there was always something that tested my limits. Noah hesitated. Ava, if I asked you to send Emma back right now, would you do it? What? He didn't answer immediately. It's already late. He finally said, I need to find her first. We'll talk later. The call disconnected. I never got another call from Noah that night. But Emma's Instagram was active again. That day, she posted 5 different updates, each in a different place. In every picture, Noah appeared. Sometimes in the background, sometimes reflected in glass. I thought about my own relationship with Noah. After years of dating, we only ever went to the same few places. Yet in just a few days, he had taken Emma to so many. The next morning, Noah rushed toward me. Where are you going? I'm moving into my school dorm. I had preparations to make before leaving the country. I could explain, but Emma spoke up first. Are you still mad? Is that why you're moving out? She looked at me with innocent, furrowed brows. Noah seemed to consider this possibility too, his gaze darkening. You didn't know I was coming back today? His tone and expression suddenly turned cold, so different from how he had just been with Emma. I caught the implication immediately. He thought I was leaving because of her. I didn't bother explaining. He wouldn't believe me anyway. He just stood there, watching as I walked away. Once everything at school was sorted out, 3 or 4 days had already passed. Mia asked, have you told Noah about going abroad? Only then did I remember. I had completely forgotten about it again. Luckily, it wasn't too late to bring it up now. I went home, but Noah wasn't there, so I started packing my things. Halfway through, he walked in. He looked a little surprised at first, but then a relaxed smile appeared on his face. I had packed up most of my things when I decided to take a break. Scrolling through Instagram, I came across a post from Emma. It was taken at a jewelry store. She had posted a picture of a diamond ring on her hand. So sparkly. I love it. Not only had my mom liked the post, but Noah had too. I liked it as well. That evening, when Noah came back, he said, let's go out for dinner. All right? Wear the dress I got you for your birthday. It looks great on you. Did it really need to be this ceremonial? Something about Noah felt off today. There was still time before dinner, so Noah didn't take me straight to the restaurant. Instead, he brought me to the university. Do you remember? We reunited right there. Noah pointed at a cherry blossom tree along the campus pathway. It wasn't cherry blossom season, but the tree was still lush with leaves. He was talking about our first meeting in college after the national entrance exams. Back then, he had asked, why are you here alone? I had been too embarrassed to tell him that my parents had been busy with Emma's plans to study abroad. That was when Noah came to me and asked, would you be my girlfriend? For the first time, I allowed myself to follow my heart, even though, in the end, it still ended in failure. I remember. And over there, Noah had a lot to say today. I was a little confused but listened patiently out of politeness. He walked me all over campus, reminiscing about our time together, until we reached the entrance of my department. I used to stand here waiting for you after class, he said. Dinner was at a high-end restaurant. At first, everything seemed normal. Then, after our meal, a group of waiters walked in, pushing a massive bouquet behind them. They were followed by some of Noah's friends. Suddenly, the room was filled with noise, cheering, party poppers, and colorful streamers raining down over my head. At some point, Noah had knelt before me on one knee. Ava, marry me. I stared blankly at the unexpected scene before me. Everyone around us cheered. Seeing my lack of reaction, they joked, she's too stunned. Didn't see that coming, huh? Noah took my hand under their coaxing. This whole time I had thought. I frowned. Stand up first. Also, ask them to leave. I need to talk to you. Noah was still caught off guard. His friends, on the other hand, quickly sensed a shift in atmosphere. They exchanged glances before awkwardly shuffling away. As the lively scene dispersed, all that remained was an empty silence. I must have heard him just now. At that moment, Noah looked at me with a mixture of helplessness and unease. I applied for a study abroad program at the academy. I finally found the chance. I met his eyes, my gaze serious but unwavering. We're breaking up. This wasn't a sudden decision. Ever since our engagement was brought up, Unexpected obstacles kept appearing. When something is within reach but suddenly disappears, it means it was never meant to be yours. Like a parent's love, like Noah's favoritism. Now, at last, I saw things clearly. When I received Emma's call, I was moving the last box of my belongings out of Noah's house. Mom wants you to come home for dinner. Oh, and don't forget. She hesitated slightly before continuing. Noah won't be joining this time. A flicker of disappointment crossed my mother's face when I arrived. I was the one who belonged to this family, yet my presence was never as welcome as Noah's. At the dinner table, I sat alone on one side while Emma and Mom chatted and laughed together. The entire dining room echoed with their cheerful voices. Oh, right, Ava. I left a bunch of my photos at Noah's place. When you have time, could you ask him to return them to me? Emma suddenly turned to me with an innocent expression. My grip on my chopsticks tightened slightly. Why did you break up? There was no trace of regret in her voice, only curiosity. A wave of nausea rose in my chest. I met her gaze coldly. Isn't this what you wanted? If I hadn't broken up with him, how else would you have taken my place? My mother's face turned pale, then flushed red. She never expected her once obedient daughter to throw such sharp words at her. As if her authority had been challenged, she snapped, "What are you talking about? What do you mean I wanted this?" She glared at me, but her anger only revealed the truth. That Noah, he just wasn't the right one for you. It's bad enough that you're not as good as your sister and everything else. I had expected this. But when that fragile illusion of a harmonious family finally shattered, what lay beneath was nothing but pure ugliness. I tried my best to suppress the pain welling up inside me, but my eyes still burned with unshed tears. You're right. My voice was eerily calm. I'll never be as good as Emma. So starting today, I won't be coming back anymore. Just pretend you never had me as a daughter. I forced down my sorrow and stood up. Mom opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. Emma, on the other hand, only looked at me with mild surprise, as if this was simply another small twist in her life. I walked out of the house that night without looking back. Emma never had to fight for love, for approval, for a place. She only had to make a single phone call, and they'd shower her with praise for being thoughtful. The color drained from my mother's face. She stammered, "These are just little things. I can't believe you still remember them." Little things. More than 20 years. Over 8,000 days and nights. Accumulated little things. Were they still just little things? I never understood why I was never enough for my parents. I was their firstborn. Yet I always felt like I had been born just to accommodate Emma. The more I thought about it, the more it hurt. I didn't realize when, but my tears had already started falling. But I had said everything. And this time, I wasn't looking back. I had said everything I needed to say. From now on, I would never say them again. I picked up my things, ready to leave. Mom called my name, but the words never came. Emma reached out, gently patting her shoulder. Ava is just selfish. You know that. Don't be sad. You still have me. Hearing that, I stopped in my tracks. Then, I turned back. I walked up to Emma. She lifted her gaze to meet mine, her expression calm, as if she had already won. I raised my hand. A loud crack echoed through the room. No one dared to speak. I didn't always hate Emma. She used to be a sweet little girl who would run to me, calling my name and asking for hugs. When did she change? I didn't know. News of my breakup with Noah spread quickly. His friends came to talk me out of it, their voices filled with concern. I shut them down with a single sentence. If you think this is nothing, I'll just send our chat records to your girlfriends. They immediately fell silent. See, people only care when the knife is pointed at them. 2 days later, it was time for me to leave. Noah stood before me, shadows clouding his eyes, his usual clarity lost. What time is your flight? 2 in the afternoon. I'll take you. No need. The academy has arranged a bus. Noah blinked, his hands trembling slightly. Ava, I'm sorry. After thinking for a long time, he finally whispered those words, his voice shaky. But this sentence he had already said it countless times over the past few days. That night, Noah had tried to understand why I brought up breaking up. He speculated many reasons. Is it because of the wedding plans? For an instant, he hesitated, unable to say another word. But I had already received my answer from his reaction. This is the reason I broke up with you, I told him. When I was young, I was Emma's shadow. As I grew older, I became her substitute. Am I such a worthless person? I'm sorry. That was all he could say. But all his other explanations were drowned out by the slap I gave him. This is what you owe me. In this relationship, I had always been open and honest. It was him who let me down. After I left, people talked. Some whispered their disdain for Noah's actions, while others speculated about the truth. Then, a mysterious insider revealed everything. The truth spread like wildfire. Unexpectedly, the internet was quite clear-headed for once. What's going on? I thought this was a romantic drama. Turns out it's just a scumbag regretting his actions. Please spare her. Isn't this just what he deserves? Exactly. Why should she forgive him just because he regrets it? Some even dug up Emma's past. To this day, my mother is still trying to get Emma and Noah back together, but the public wasn't on her side. You don't even care about your own child. You don't deserve to be a mother. Mia told me about all of this months later. To me, it was all in the past. The last time she mentioned their situation was in early December. Did you know that Noah and Emma were in a car accident? What? From Mia's recounting, I finally learned the truth. It turned out that the things my mother posted online had only poured fuel on the fire. The public's anger toward them had only grown stronger, but it had nothing to do with me anymore. The last time my mother called me, she was crying, begging me to come home. I listened in silence, then finally said, "When you're old, I'll send you support money." I heard her painful sobs on the other end of the line. Then, I hung up, without another word.